Right guys, so I've been cutting for the past 12 days. I set myself a challenge. It's a 28-day cut and I'm going from 14% body fat down to 10. I wanted to share a quick realization with you guys, something that I've noticed for myself over the last almost 2 weeks now. I've noticed that when I first started this, it was extremely difficult for me to stop these habits that I've been so accustomed to doing. When it comes to eating, I would sit down at a table, fill my plate up with as much food as I can, and I would always eat until completion. Nowadays, these past almost 2 weeks, it's kind of been more like I've been putting as minimal calories into my body, right? And my body is starting to, at the beginning it was fighting back. But I've realized now that it really has just got into the swing of things. It understands what's going on. It's not complaining anymore, it's not fighting back. Actually, what it's doing is just adapting. And I think as human beings, we are creatures of adaptation, right? Like every single time our environment changes, whether it be you go to a new job or you go to a new place, you're around different people, every single time you have to adapt to that environment and become a different version. And now I'm at the point where after these 2 weeks, I've noticed that I'm just no longer this person that I was before. I'm now a lot more conscious over what I'm eating. I'm a lot more vigilant. I don't just indulge in the odd sweets, or it's just not really something that I want to do because I'm on a mission. I have more purpose, I have more drive. And I used to think that I was eating so much calories and I used to have so little energy. But now I've cut my calories in half. And I would actually say I have more energy now than I did before. What it had to do with was actually using the energy I had, using the energy that God has given me, and then being blessed with more. When I decided to start this challenge, a really weird side effect is that I started to feel more energized because I wasn't spending so much of my time lounging around, and I started to be more active. I started to go out on more walks. I started to really exercise more because I wanted to keep the muscle I'd spent so many years building. As I've built so much muscle over these years, I think it's really allowed me to just go into these cutting phases with the same discipline muscle that I'd built throughout putting on muscle. Because so I used to be skinny, and when I began working out, it was really difficult for me to actually put on muscle, to gain weight, and I sort of had to build this discipline to be able to do that, to where I really struggled to eat a lot. I struggled to train consistently. I struggled to really do every single thing that I needed to be doing as a natural lifter, as someone who was tall, as someone who was quite skinny. I decided that I was gonna get in shape, and in the beginning it was really tough. I had to work through a lot of mental battles. I had to really commit. And I think a lot of people who have this goal, I mean, you've probably clicked on this video because you want to get to 10% body fat, and this is something that you actually want to do. But you have to understand that if this is something that is important to you, then you're going to have to sacrifice things. You're going to have to do things that most people aren't going to want to do. If you want to be in the top 1% and be 10% body fat, then you're going to have to do things that are extraordinary. These are things that people don't typically do. These are things that people would consider you to be weird. I just had a woman, cross my path, and she was shouting abuse at me because I'm in shape and she's not, right? That's just the reality. So she starts to, feel insecure, see the insecurities in herself, see how she's not, holding up to her potential, and she feels offended, and that's okay. There are going to be people like that are going to cross your path on your way to greatness, and they're going to feel insecure. They're going to start to question why they're not working out. They're going to start to question why they're not doing what you're doing, or they're not living up to their own potential. But that's just part of the process.